put out a little request to all our employees at Westfall Roofing. If anybody had a roof that we can go look at. You know, we've been doing these videos and we've been going up and dissecting roofs, seeing what issues some homeowners have, and not a terrible idea to actually go out and look at some of our counterparts at Westfall Roofing. And we got Carlos. Carlos raised his hand and said, hey Ryan, you come take a look at my roof? A little afraid of what I might see, but our great HR director, you know, put his name in the hat, and we love Carlos and thought it'd be a great opportunity to go up here and tell him what's going on with his roof. So appreciate you, Carlos, for letting us do that.
You're welcome.
So how do you feel about me going up there and looking at your roof, man?
Hopefully you don't find anything too crazy.
No?
If there's anything, I know we can fix it.
Yes, you know a guy, right?
Yeah, I know a roofer.
You know a roofer, right? Yeah. So we're gonna get up there and hopefully I don't find anything, man.
Yeah,
I hope, but I usually do see something. Actually, I already see something right now. See, I already do. I'm sorry, man. Right out of the gate, I mean, it jumps out at me immediately, is you got siding going into the roof and you're missing a kicker. Right here, Carlos, and I'm sorry that you're missing a kicker. Right here, there's supposed to be a piece of metal that's protruding out from the siding that kicks the water away. All the water that's running down this wall right here, unfortunately, is going right into your siding, and looks like some caulking and some paint is basically what's keeping the water out. Ideally, you have a nice piece of metal sticking out that actually kicks the water away. It protrudes out from the roof and kicks the water away. So you're missing a kicker.
Got it.
What else can we find? Yeah. Carlos, when was your roof replaced?
2019.
2019. You didn't live here though, right?
No.
No, you didn't. There was some missed opportunities when this roof was replaced. And you're like, what do you mean by that, Ryan? Well, there's certain things a roofer should consider. You know, and you have these conversations with your homeowner when you're replacing the roof. And one of the things to look at is your fascia. You know, this is the front of the house. And when you look at this fascia, obviously they look like there was some wood repairs done, but a good roofing contractor, a good contractor in general would have a conversation with the homeowner and say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, you know, instead of just replacing, you know, the little damaged fascia you have, why don't we consider running a long run of getting a long piece of fascia and replacing the entire fascia? So when we look at your fascia, Carlos, unfortunately, what I see how the fascia has been repaired kind of haphazardly over the years. You know, also, you could see the fascia is in pieces. You know, ideally, when you're doing repairs like this, especially the front of the house, you know, the side of the house, you can probably get away with, you know, 6-foot runs, 8-foot runs of fascia repair. But something like this, we would have recommended the homeowner in this situation, hey, instead of just piecing in the fascia, why don't we go ahead and get you a nice 20-foot board and let's replace the entire thing so that you don't have any seams on your fascia board on the front of your house where it's visible from the street. So it's, you know, little things that, you know, I think a good contractor takes into consideration when they're replacing a roof is what separates your chucking of trucks to your established roofing contractors like Westfall Roofing. The next go around, man, I think you replace the entire board, but that's when you replace your roof next time. So for now, you just gotta live with some seams. Well, I'm over here looking at this rotted fascia. I guess Carlos just informed me that we're already on schedule to do a repair for him. Apparently Carlos knows a little about roofing too. Anyways, right here you can see where the fascia is rotted out. It's actually pretty common to see this with nice, you know, 2x8, 2x6 lumber like this. And you know, if it's not maintained over the years, you know, it can rot out. It's very important to paint your house at least every, you know, minimum every 8 years, ideally every 5 years. I mean, Carlos, it looks like you're doing a great job maintaining your home. But, you know, obviously you took over the house in 2019 and you're sometimes playing catch up with what the last owner did. And unfortunately, Carlos has got some rotted fascia here and you can feel it's soft. A lot of homeowners will come in or handyman will come in and putty this. You know, I feel like there's a time and place for that sort of thing, but ideally you come in and you actually replace the rotted fascia with new lumber. But you know, I could literally, what's basically holding this all together is the paint. If I took my finger, I could probably put my finger right through all this fascia. But Carlos is doing the right thing, being a good homeowner, and he is getting his fascia replaced before, you know, the thing, you know, really starts falling apart. So, Carlos, I can't even get away from the front of the house. I haven't got on the roof yet. But right here, we got an end cap that's popping out on your gutter, Carlos. A little end cap right there. So, well, Carlos knows a roofing company that has a gutter division too, so we probably could fix that for you, man. Carlos on this house actually has spiked gutters. Now I'm wondering if they're impacted or not, but they actually sound like there's some leaves in there. Oh boy, these are older gutters. I have to assume that when the roof was replaced, the roofers save the gutters, and these are spiked gutters. You know, we don't even use spiked gutters anymore. The gutters we use that have hidden fasteners. And I already could see some of the spikes are actually pulling away from the house, even some gutter damage down there. But let's get up on the roof now, and let's keep breaking this roof down. Fun fact about squirrels. Squirrels' teeth continually grow, and they need something to chew on to file their teeth down. And there's a lot of times what a squirrel will do is they'll chew on lead. And I guess it makes them a little squirrely, if you catch my drift. But they chew on lead, and they file their teeth down on it, and they leave a pheromone on it. And over time, a lot of, that pheromone's on there now, the scent is, and now his family's chewing on the lead too. And, voila, you have a chewed up plumbing vent. And water can intrude around the plumbing vent once it's been chewed up. But there's a fix to it. What you do is when you replace your roof, or you can call the contractor after the fact, call Westfall Roofing, to come out, and we actually will install these squirrel guards over your plumbing vents. And it's a very simple installation. We can paint them to match the color of the roof. They literally slide up right on top of the existing plumbing vent. We do cut the plumbing vent so that it fits the pitch of the roof. Oftentimes you'll see contractors will install a squirrel guard like this, but they won't cut it. So it'll be squared off on the bottom, and the bottom part of the plumbing vent is actually exposed, and well, there you go. You're not really protecting your plumbing vent. But if you install these, you're actually preventing yourself some maintenance headaches down the road. So who did this? We did this, right?
You.
We did it, yeah, same, I did it. Look, another squirrel guard. I love it. So Carlos likes houses with a lot of skylights, apparently. This house has a ton of skylights. Roofers in general, anything protruding out of the roof, we're not very fond of, but you gotta have them. So, and then skylights are just a fun accessory to deal with sometimes as a roofing contractor. Anytime you have a skylight, there is increased chances of leaks. You're having to flash around the skylight. You're trying to have to seal around the skylight with roofing cement. If you're not flashing in your skylight correctly, you can get a leak. And then, sorry, Carlos has the acrylic type of skylight, which you thump it.
They're noisy.
It's noisy, and it's not that thick. And if you get a little bit of hail, we've seen actually hail come in and break the skylight. So they're not the most durable. Also, acrylic expands, contracts with the heat. They yellow. We're not very fond of acrylic skylights. And unfortunately, Carlos, again, he bought this house with the roof already on it. And it looks like the skylights were replaced with the roof replacement. They look like 2019 skylights. But the other homeowner didn't opt for glass skylights, double pane glass, impact rated skylights. That's the way to go. For one, glass isn't yellow. So I'm sure, Carlos, when you look up, it's not as bright as it used to be. Also, in my mind, you have a kind of let's say a hazard, but an increased chance of something else maybe occurring. Here in Florida, we do get some hail, and if a piece of hail hits the skylight just right, it's going to put a hole right through it. It's a really good idea when you're replacing your roof, replace the skylights. We often see homeowners try to save the skylights and want to replace the skylights down the road. You're going back and you're opening your roof up 5 years later to replace the skylight. It should be done right when the roof replacement is being done. And do yourself a favor, you're in Florida, go ahead and get glass impact rated skylights. I kind of don't care where you live. If you're by the coast, you have to, but everywhere in Florida, I think glass impact rated is the way to go. Lastly, if you want to even think about energy efficiency, acrylic, it probably has a good amount of heat traveling through the skylight. If you get double pane glass, impact rated skylight, there again, you got, it's probably a lot cooler in that, in the well of the skylight than it is with acrylic skylight. So I'm not going to recommend to Carlos to replace the skylights right now. I think the skylights are here to stay for the life of the roof. But when you go to replace this roof one day, Carlos, I definitely recommend we swap these out for some impact rated glass skylights. So Carlos has a wonderful bottle brush tree by his roof. And you know what, Carlos? I'm proud of you, okay? Carlos is doing a good job keeping up with his roof. He's keeping his bottle brush tree off the roof. He's not rubbing up against the roof. I know it's a challenge, but it looks like you're doing a really good job keeping the tree off the roof. Unfortunately, we got old gutters, and I see impacted gutters full of debris. There's also some spikes that are missing. There again, I feel like the original owner should have actually replaced the gutters. But you got some missing spikes. Maybe in time, maybe want to consider actually coming back and actually installing brand new gutters on the house. But wouldn't hurt the Rapid Service to have us come out here and actually clean up these gutters and reinstall the spikes. He's got composting in his gutters. He's got weeds growing out of his gutter right now. I'm telling you, man, we can start putting cherry tomatoes in them. So look, I know Carlos has done a pretty good job at keeping limbs off your roof. You know, I can tell that this is a recent thing. I don't see underneath here the shingles are damaged. You know, I see some slight rubbing, but this looks like this limb recently just started leaning up on the roof. You know, over time, when you get this sweeping action on the roof like this, it actually does break down the shingles, causes degranulation. You know, something just continually rubbing up on the roof like this is not good for it. I mean, remember, you know, water-shaped mountains and, you know, just a little simple tree limb like this rubbing up and down a roof over a number of years will inevitably cause damage and actually be an issue down the road. So do yourself a favor and keep the limbs off your roof. Westfall Roofing was out here and we put new squirrel guards all over the roof, but apparently our service technician missed one of the vents. Well, stuff happens, you know. What we do every day is a major human element to it. This plumbing vent is tucked in behind this 10-inch GRV. I can see how our guys missed it. All you have to do, if you know we're doing some work for you, for a homeowner, and we happen to miss something or you're not 100% satisfied with the work that we did, just give us a call. We have a service department. All we're going to do here is we're going to submit a little service ticket. We'll have one of our service techs come out here and they'll go ahead and they'll install another squirrel guard over this plumbing vent that we missed. Things happen. We've been around since 1989 for a reason. And one of the big ones is we always come back out. We always service our work. You know, like I said, there's a big human element to this. And part of standing by your work is coming out when you mess up. You come out, you fix it. You know, no questions asked. So you're getting another squirrel guard, Carlos. Ridge vent. This is a GAF roof. I believe the color is Weatherwood. And this is also a GAF Cobra 3 ridge vent. Well, how can you tell, Ryan? Well, I can tell by the style of the vent. Who the manufacturer is. And all the manufacturers make continuous ridge vent like this. And we prefer Owens Corning Venture. Owens Corning Venture does ventilate a little bit more than all the other manufacturers. But you know, we are splitting hairs when we're talking about the difference in quality between all the different manufacturers. You know, ultimately we have a great relationship with Owens Corning, and that's who we prefer working with. And we've been working with Owens Corning for a very long time. But up here on this roof, I can tell it's a GAF roof. One was the color, the other that gives it away is the type of ridge vent style that I see on here. This is a GF Cobra 3 ridge vent. So, but looking at it, the roof actually looks like it was installed, the ridge vent was installed correctly, and there's adequate attic ventilation for this roof, at least from up top. The next check we're gonna do is check the soffits and see if you got enough intake. But having this continuous ridge vent going across your roof tells me that if the ridge was actually cut in, Carlos has plenty of attic ventilation on this house. Carlos here has a gable vent. And amazingly, the fan is working on this gable vent. You don't see this that often anymore. In lieu of ridge vent, back in the day, a lot of contractors would actually install a gable vent on the house instead of having a ridge vent. So what you would have is you would have air intake coming in from the soffit, and then you would have an active vent pushing the air out from like this fan on this gable vent. So what Carlos has on his house is actually a mixed ventilation system. He's got this gable vent and he has the ridge vent. There's an issue that could possibly be occurring with having a gable vent and a ridge vent. And that is if the gable vent that's actively drawing air out of the attic could theoretically also be drawing air from the ridge vent outside. So it could be pulling air from the ridge vent and actually pushing the air out. So in a sense, actually creating a vortex in the attic, and it's actually pulling air from outside and just pushing it right back out of this gable vent. And when that's occurring, you're actually not allowing the ridge vent to really do its job. Ideally, you only have one type of ventilation system on your house. So down the road, Carlos, it wouldn't be a bad idea to actually have this vent probably covered up. Take it out, take out the fan, run new siding, and eliminate this gable vent. It's probably actually working against allowing your house to properly ventilate the attic. Carlos, apparently we've had some rodent issues with this house, and missed opportunity when the roof was replaced too. So after the roof was replaced, they must have had a rodent issue, and then they installed these nice screens in here to keep the rodents out. You know, you could see they put a piece of kicker right here, a little flashing to keep the water from wicking, from damaging this fascia. That's good practice, but there was a really big missed opportunity here. The original contractor could have boxed in this bird box with flashing. So literally build out some flashing, take the top of the roof off, drop flashing down into here, and basically eliminate having to put in chicken wire in your soffit to keep the squirrels out. And by the way, the squirrels will chew through this chicken wire, or the rats will if they're rodents. I will say, looking at this, well, I'll take that back. So there might be a chance something's getting in here because it's still pretty kind of open, but yeah, missed opportunity. Box in your bird boxes, and you don't have to put chicken wire in like this to keep the rodents out. So the siding's installed correctly. It's an older house, so not that uncommon to see lap siding have a little bit of movement. But you know what we like to see is I can get my fingers between the shingles and the siding. That's actually a good thing. You know, if the siding is sitting right on top of the shingles, you actually will get some rot. You know, wood does need to breathe, and moisture needs to have the ability to escape. And if you have siding coming down right on top of the shingles and you don't have this airspace, what you'll have is you'll get inevitably the siding will start rotting out prematurely. So this was actually a pretty sound installation, you know. According to Carlos' house, built in '86, the house was actually built pretty well. And the siding was done, this in my mind, I think is the original siding on the home. And just some little things to notice, you know, the fasteners probably wouldn't hurt to get some of this refastened. It's a little bit of movement, but you know, overall, you know, the house was built pretty well. I tend to think that houses built back in the day were built a little stronger, a little bit more hardier than they are built today, but I'm a little biased. Stuff ages, there's nothing wrong with it. It looks like there's a major attempt on trying to maintain this, but actually I found a little piece of loose wood that's a little rotted right here. And you know, obviously there's been some caulking's been done. I think at this point, it's about just maintaining this. You know, there's a day when all this needs to come out, but a little bit of rot, a little bit of caulking, but you know, I could tell that the house has been painted recently, and homeowners trying to do a good job trying to keep up with things. But at some point, there's only so much you can get. There's only so much life you can get out of lap siding like this, and you know, I don't think it's a good idea to try to save some of this lap siding on the next roof replacement for sure. The idea is I think this roof's about 5 years old. You know, maybe some minor repairs over the next few years, but at that, you know, 10, 15 year mark when this roof gets replaced, a good idea, you know, pop out this siding, put brand new siding in, get rid of this fan. Actually, the fan's moving a lot. You can see the fan's just kind of hanging out. Kind of just hanging on by a thread, to be honest with you, but probably gonna have one of our guys come out here and take a look at this for Carlos and see if there's something we can do with it. Ideally, you know, I think this sort of project is done in the next roof replacement. And again, I think that the challenge is trying to get there to the next 10 years, get another 10 years out of some of these little nuances, you know, just being a homeowner, but I guess we'll see. So I got some service techs that we're gonna send out here, and we're gonna have them take another good look at this and see what we can do to try to secure it, and maybe try to address some of this deteriorated siding. So we're always looking to educate homeowners, not just on roofing, but also just general home maintenance and construction. Carlos, the brave soul, allowed me to go up there and look at everything. I really appreciate it, Carlos. Carlos does a lot of wonderful things for our organization. He's our director of HR. I think he does a great job keeping our employees happy. And you know, we have great culture in our business, and very blessed to be working with Carlos. He's a big part of that. He's stuck with me for 3 years so far. So but you know, very blessed to be working with Carlos. And thanks again, man.
Thank you.